Hi guys, it's Dylan from Bijou Diamond Jewellery in London with another watch video, and today we're taking a look at an iconic Rolex, and that is the Yacht-Master II in yellow gold. So as with all my videos, let's go back in time and take a look at the history of the Yacht-Master. I'm actually going to go pre-Yacht-Master to learn more about how the Yacht-Master was actually brought into the collection for Rolex. So we're actually going to go back to the early 1950s, specifically 1953, which is when Rolex released the Submariner. The Submariner was designed as a professional dive watch for professional divers. It featured a few different features and functions that were specifically aimed at professional divers, like a very high water resistance, like 100 meters on the initial watches, later on 200 meters, and now 300 meters. It also featured a rotating bezel for measuring elapsed time, so you could judge how much time had passed for your dive and then work out from there how much oxygen was left in your tanks. The watch also featured a bracelet that allowed the watch to go over the top of a wetsuit. Because it was able to withstand 100 meter water resistance and then 200 meters, it was a very rugged watch and could withstand really the everyday dinks of life. And that's why it attracted a lot of attention, not just with divers, but just the general public, because it meant that they could wear a watch, a sports watch, and not worry too much about dinking it or knocking it and damaging the movement inside like you might do with a dress watch. So it became incredibly popular with the general public. People started to wear the Submariner as their everyday watch. Rolex really recognized its popularity with this new audience, non-divers. Desk divers as they're called, and Rolex gave these new clients a new function on this watch, and that was a date function in the 60s. Rolex really was recognizing that most of the people buying this watch weren't in fact divers anymore. Rolex changed the watch a few times over the years, added different functions, and they decided in the 90s that they'd like to revamp the Submariner and completely redesign it. So they made a brand new design for the Submariner, but the design was so different to the original design that the Submariner had, and the original Submariner up until the 90s hadn't really changed a lot at all. It remained relatively similar to the original design from the 50s. So they were quite scared about how it would be received by their customers, their clients, whether or not it would be as popular as the Submariner had been throughout those years. And they concluded it was too much of a risky move to release it, as the revamped Submariner. Instead, they decided to brand it as its own watch. They didn't want to throw away the design, so they released a new model, completely new model, called the Yacht-Master. The Yacht-Master, actually, the name Yacht-Master lends itself much better to this design that they came up with. This design for the revamped Submariner, aka the Yacht-Master, was much more of a softer design. It was aimed definitely at the people that were wearing this watch, which were people, behind a desk or just in general, day-to-day life, people that weren't actually diving with this watch. It featured a much more rounder case, featured a full polished case as well, featured also polished center links on the bracelet, a slightly smaller case size versus the Submariner, slightly bulkier case. And it was also only available in precious metal. And all of these features added up and really lent themselves much better to its new name, the Yacht-Master, designed for a much more luxurious environment. So in 1992, Rolex released the 16628 reference. That was an all gold Yacht-Master, and it was only available in precious metal when it was first released. The Rolesium version, released in 1999, definitely helped the popularity of the Yacht-Master though, because it was much lower price point. It made it much more attainable for the general public. Not everyone can afford a full yellow gold watch. Skipping a few years now on to 2007, which is when we saw the release of the Yacht-Master II that we're looking at. That's when we saw really big interest in the Yacht-Master line. Previous to that, it wasn't their most popular model, but this really helped that. And the Yacht-Master II became quite an iconic watch from Rolex, especially this model that we're looking at here. It was around the time where bigger watches were becoming much more popular and were definitely the trend. Rappers and people in the hip hop industry, just the pop culture industry, definitely were wearing more publicly watches and jewelry and Rolexes, and they were all wearing much larger watches than old classic watches. So this was a perfect watch, especially this yellow gold watch, and it became incredibly popular, this yellow gold version, and actually was kind of seen as the king of Rolexes around that time, because it was just the ultimate, or seen as the ultimate in luxury. Okay, so that concludes some of the history of the Yacht-Master. Let's take a look at some of the features of this watch. So this is designed as a Regatta chronograph, which is quite a unique type of chronograph. It's very different to the standard chronograph that we're used to on something like a Daytona or a 5960 from Patek, a 5980 maybe. This is quite a different style in the fact that it's designed for regatta racing, so that's sailing racing basically. The Regatta chronograph is actually a countdown chronograph, but it's also a fly back and fly forward chronograph, so it's actually quite a complex watch. I'd actually say this is probably the most complicated Rolex in the current collection, but it really doesn't get recognized as one of the complicated watches. So let's take a look at how to actually use the chronograph, and then we'll look at the features of the watch. So like I said, this is designed for regatta boat racing, so essentially a sailing race where previous to the race or before the race, you get 10 minutes to rig your boat and get it ready for the race. And Rolex wanted to create a watch that you could count down however many minutes were left, so 10 minutes or 5 minutes left on that clock, the central clock for timing that, rigging time. So this has a chronograph that you can set, a countdown chronograph that you can set from anywhere between 10 and 1 minute countdowns. It's really easy to set. Well, not that easy to set. It's quite easy to set. It's very easy to use once you've set it up for that specific number of minutes. But it's changing the number of minutes is quite difficult. Anyway, we'll come on to that now. So to start using your Regatta chronograph, you first need to unscrew the crown. Once you've unscrewed the crown, you actually rotate the bezel. The bezel on this watch is completely different to a normal bezel like a Submariner or a GMT Master bezel. It only rotates 90 degrees, and its pure purpose pretty much for rotating, or its only purpose for rotating, is to communicate with the movement. Obviously the numbers on the bezel help you to read your countdown numbers a little bit easier, but actually I find the numbers on the dial much easier to read because they're printed against white. So once we've rotated the bezel anti-clockwise 90 degrees, we used our reset pusher at 4 o'clock, push that in, and that locks in the bezel and sets the movement ready for us to adjust our countdown clock. Next, we're going to use the crown to turn and decide what minutes or number of minutes we want to count down. So obviously, if it's a 10-minute race or 10-minute rig time, we'll set it to 10 minutes. For this example, we will use 8 minutes. Once you've selected your number of minutes, desired minutes, in our case 8 minutes, you then rotate the bezel back round again, and that releases your pusher at 4 o'clock, your reset pusher. You then screw in your crown, and now you're all set to use the chronograph, and the watch is obviously watertight with it being screwed down. So to use a chronograph is exactly the same as a normal chronograph. We've got our start-stop button up at 2 o'clock and then our reset pusher at 4 o'clock. So just so I can give you an example now, we press our start-stop, and you can see the red hand in the center of the dial, or the large red second hand for the chronograph seconds, starts to make its way around the dial. We can see our triangle hand on the center of the dial, the small bit of the dial, showing how many minutes we have remaining. We can see that move through there. One thing that's quite interesting is that we can actually reset the chronograph really quickly while it's running, which is called a flyback chronograph. But this watch also features a fly forward chronograph. So if I just demonstrate that now with the second hand on the right hand side of the watch, we have our first 30 seconds of a countdown. When I reset the second hand, when it's on that right hand side of the watch, it resets to the minute that we just set it on. So the 8 minutes in this case, you can watch it jumps back to 8 minutes. However, if I let that second hand travel past the 30-second mark, so it's in the second half of the watch, so the left hand side of the watch, we can see that if I press the reset pusher, it actually jumps forward a minute. So in this case, 7 minutes. So this is a really, really useful feature, and the reason why Rolex added this to this watch is so that if you're rigging your boat at the beginning of the race and you realize that your watch is a little bit out of sync with the central clock, you just look at the central clock and just quickly align it by pressing the reset pusher when it arrives at, say, 8 minutes or 7 minutes on the normal clock, and it saves you having to change your clock from 8 to 7, or it just allows you to skip forward to that specific minute. So a really nice, useful feature. I don't think many people will actually use a flyback regatta chronograph But the thing that it is useful for, and the thing that I think maybe this would be more useful than, say, a Daytona chronograph, is the fact that these pushers don't require any screw down, so they don't feature any screws, which means you can use them right away. You don't have to unscrew them and then press the start stop pusher or reset. They're ready to use immediately. The complicated part of using this watch is purely setting your number of minutes for your countdown. Once you've set just 10 minutes, which I think most people would do on this watch, or 5 minutes, you can then just use the chronograph like a normal chronograph. It just obviously counts down rather than shows a lapse time. So for example, if you were timing your egg for 2 minutes in the morning, you can leave your chronograph, your Regatta chronograph, your Yacht-Master, always on 8 minutes, but just use your stop pusher and wait till it gets to 6 minutes. It's much easier to use than the Daytona because you don't have to unscrew it. It's also much more visual as well. It's much easier to see than the Daytona, because it's got that big part of the intersection of the dial where you can see those big clear numbers of how many minutes you have remaining. So in some ways I'd say this is more useful than the Daytona, but to set it is much more tedious. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the features of this watch as well. We're going to start with the clasp as always. We've got our standard oyster clasp on this watch. Very simple, nice, elegant clasp. I love that this is the smaller oyster clasp. I do love the glide lock clasps that we feature on the Submariners and also the Yacht-Master 42. It features obviously much wider range of adjustability, which makes it much more of a comfortable watch overall. However, I do prefer the much more low profile design and smaller design that this oyster clasp has. This oyster clasp features a 5mm adjustment as well, easy link adjustment it's called from Rolex, that allows you to extend the bracelet by 5mm. So in hot weather, where your wrist expands, you can make the bracelet slightly larger. Definitely a really nice feature, and all our clients that own a Rolex definitely use this feature a lot. Next, we have our bracelet, which is a standard oyster bracelet. We've got polished center links and brushed outer links. Really nice combination of textures here on this yellow gold. I think it looks beautiful. And obviously that center polish matching to our clasp as well. Very simple bracelet, really, really comfortable. Both the clasp and the bracelet are super reliable, very, very classic Rolex. Moving now up onto our case, we've got a full polished case it's actually a 44mm case, so it's one of the largest cases that Rolex does in their collection. It's in full polish finish, which is kind of unusual for a sports watch, but it looks really, really nice and definitely lends itself nicely to this yellow gold design, the really royal look and luxurious look with the blue bezel as well. Not too much to say about the case. It is quite deep, it does sit quite proud from the wrist, but not too much that it feels awkward when you're wearing it. It is a large watch at 44mm, so the depth is definitely justified, or doesn't feel out of place, if that makes sense. Moving now onto our bezel, we've got our beautiful blue bezel in ceramic with our yellow inlays, or yellow gold inlays for the numbers. The yellow gold and the blue complements itself so nicely together. I think it's such a nice, luxurious combination. I really, really like that, and I think this blue bezel with the yellow gold is really what makes this watch. Moving now onto the dial, we've got a beautiful white dial, which I think again adds to that really nice, luxurious feel this watch has. It just feels so clean. Definitely gives me like a yacht vibe about it. The way the dial is set out kind of looks like a yachting instrument on a boat. It has a really classic look to it as well, definitely not too modern. I really like the combination of the red and the blue and the white and the yellow on this watch. I just think they all complement each other really, really nicely. The red is obviously a very subtle color relative to the yellow and the blue, but it's really nice. It just helps to pop those details out of the dial. And really like the way that they've kind of contained everything to do with the chronograph in red, so it's easy to read when you want it, and everything else is in blue and white, so it's very, very legible. In fact, I'd say it's probably the most legible Rolex there is on the market, because it features these older style blue hands, which is a really, really nice feature. I'm personally not a fan of the newer style Mercedes yellow gold hands that this watch has. I think it's much less legible than this watch and doesn't look anywhere near as nice as this. I think that kind of elegance that goes with these blue hands is really, really beautiful. And I think it looks much more nautical as well. I like the fact that these hands are unique to the Yacht-Master. On to whether or not I would own it. Personally, I wouldn't own it because my wrists are maybe a little bit too small for this watch. I also find this watch, slightly more on the obvious side in terms of its value, and I prefer to edge more slightly on the more subtle watches, maybe the bit more understated watches. But this is a really cool piece, and it's actually quite a special piece to me because when I was first getting into watches, this watch was kind of the most iconic watch in the industry at the time. I saw it literally everywhere, you know, from bloggers to in the press, to people wearing them, you know, in public, celebrities wearing them. I saw this watch so much, and for me, at the time of just getting into watches, this watch really epitomized the world of luxury. I didn't think you could get much more luxurious than this watch. Obviously, I learned about different brands and different models after that, but that's why I find this such a special piece to me, is because it holds a special image in my mind of what watches used to be to me, and what the top end of watches used to be to me. Really cool piece, and on larger wrists, this looks absolutely fantastic. We actually featured a video a while ago with this on a rubber strap, and it looks amazing on that strap as well. So the great thing about this watch is because it's a sports watch, it can really be dressed up and down and looks super versatile. I mean, on the yellow bracelet, it looks very dressy. On the rubber, it looked much more casual, but looked fantastic. It is a really brilliant piece, and I think it's an iconic Rolex and always will be. I wonder if maybe they might discontinue them soon, in which case maybe this will become quite a popular model. Thanks guys for watching. Let us know in the comments what you think of this Yacht-Master II. Would you own this watch or maybe another one of the Yacht-Masters, or would you own something else from the Rolex collection? Let us know in the comments, and as always, if you're interested in this Yacht-Master II or any other watch in the Swiss watch industry, then don't hesitate to contact us. Our details are in the description and also at the end of the video. It would be a pleasure to call this watch into stock for you. And in fact, this very watch that we're showing you today is available from us now. It's in stock with us. If you click the link down in the description, you'll be able to find it there.